All right, good morning. Oh, I just started my stream here, and I see I got sidetracked with TikTok. Let me change monitors. There we go. YouTube. Now you're on here. Can you do spy? John, I was not gonna do it, but now that you asked, I would love to do spy. Um, so let's talk about spy. All right. So yesterday, us first talk about kind of what we did. It's kind of interesting because I'm going to talk about it on the chart here with the indicators, but we actually were kind of trading while we were watching the ATA yesterday. So as you see, most of my lines actually were were on the ATA, which I don't recommend, and I don't even like doing myself. I don't know why I did that, but let's talk about yesterday. So let's find the market open yesterday. I'm going to take off the extended hours. Let's go to regular hours. Makes it a little easier for me to get into the opens. Okay, so Tuesday, right? We had our open here, um, and so right away on this one, on this market open here, right? We ended up having the pullback. Ended up coming back here. We found a little support. If you look at this, y'all remember I had this 448.18. Not only that is on the horizontal resistance line I have, but if you go to the 1 hour, I believe it was one of the EMAs or SMAs. So it didn't surprise me that we rejected off of that. It was a pretty expected rejection area. So not sure what that line is though. We'll delete that one. So we did have that rejection. It did fall below the 200 on the 2 minute, which then kept rejecting through into market open, caused us to collapse. You can see we just stayed below our orange line, which we teach in the room to follow. We did have a flip here, blue, and then that means that we're starting to hold some support here. If you scroll back, you can see there was heavy support back here as well. And so that's kind of why we threw this yellow line in there. One of the calls that I didn't actually take this put. I was busy doing if y'all remember, we did the huddle later yesterday. So while this was falling, I wasn't going to chase it. We wanted to play the other way. So I did call out this inverse head and shoulder. I actually caught this call somewhere in here. I held it through the retest and I closed it somewhere up in this area. So it was a pretty good trade. I didn't catch it all the way up. I was just looking for a little scalp. Now it's interesting because I get this question sometimes, and because sometimes I will say, hey, I see a inverse head and shoulder. We're a little bullish, and then CK will come in, or he'll mention, man, that's bullish, but I still see us a little bit as bearish. It's okay because we can both be right, and this is a perfect example because we had an inverse head and shoulder retest push. Right, this is the bullish that I saw. Now this pushed us into a larger pattern of a bear flag, right? So you had your fall, you had your bear flag, and that's where he saw the bearish, right? So you can have two directions and still be right. To kind of clarify on that. Now, again, on this long right here, we just talked about this, right? We don't just take these for just hey, it's long enter, right? It's not designed to be like that. It's a guidance, right? Not necessarily always an entry. But you wouldn't want to take this long when you're literally at the apex of a bear flag. So you have a bearish pattern, in that long call, but you also have resistance. There's a lot of things that say this bearish pattern was going to break out. You can see the resistance level hit perfectly on our indicators, and it collapsed. It did its retest, collapsed again. And then you can just kind of see from there, we just held this trend line, lost some steam. The oscillation started getting smaller, and right about 3 o'clock, we had another little collapse. So where do we go from here? Let's talk about the 1 hour, and let's see where we are and where we go. So y'all know I had this white line for some time. We just kind of keep adjusting it a little bit. To me, we had these wicks that we were excluding. So if we pull this down, right, and let's try to include as many of these wicks as we can. So if we stop it right there, Now we have hit this one, all these wicks, this wick, this wick or candle body, and it's right where it bounced on this wick at 442.29, right before it started pushing north again. So what does that mean? My anticipation today, we do have a lot of bullish divergence that's kind of coming through here. Even here, it's arguable because of this lower low here on this section there. But ultimately, if you come back here, right, and you take this spot here, you have your low up here, and we have continuous lower lows, but this is still higher than where it began, right? So it's kind of that longer term potential bullishness. Now, my call, y'all remember back here, was that this was not going to hold. We were going to come down at least to 443. I've been calling that forever. So we hit that. We actually exceeded that. My next step was around 442. I think I said like 80 or something like that. So we exceeded that as well. Here's the big thing you want to watch for. 443.92. If we do not reclaim that area, it's in trouble. SPY's in trouble, because now what was once resistance over here is going to be considered as resistance again if we cannot reclaim that. However, if we do reclaim that, we're going to see a push all the way back up to 448, maybe 449, somewhere in this pocket here. Because people are going to see, okay, we tried to hold this as resistance, now it's flipping as support. Bam, you're going to get the FOMO train. Everybody's going to hop on, and we're going to go up. So that is a key area that I would watch. Now, what I would tell you is, like I talked about earlier, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 strong bullish calls within here, right, as we're continuing down. So I'd like to always look back and see, is there another time where we had that? Now, this one's not as close, right? But we had 1, 2, and we had a pop. We had 1, 2, and we had a pop. So let's keep looking. Let's see if we had any other instances. I'd like to see one where it's really close. Here's one, and this is one in a downtrend. So this is interesting. Let's just take a look. So you can see you had 1, 2, 3, and then we moved from 437 all the way to 449. So it's still played out, right? I mean, that's a big pop. So let's keep looking. So you have another 2 here, played out from 414 to 437. And then look at this one, another 2 here, played out. My whole point of this is that, do I still think that we have downside? I do. My longer term call was this 431. I think that we're going to bleed our way down to this 431. But remember, stocks, crypto, it doesn't matter what you're trading. FOMO train, it takes you to the unemployment line, or for trading. I guess the application line to get a job to pay for your loss. And so my anticipation is we may hold this as resistance. We may even see 441 or so as we continue to hit this line. But I still do think we have one more little push north. Whether that takes us to 447 or 448 depends on the time of when it pushes north. To keep yourself safe, I would wait for this 1 hour to flip green. Once this flips green, you know that we have enough steam to probably push that. On a short-term level, my only concern on a put at market open would be that our bullish gap fill, which is pretty accurate, mostly on the 5-minute, but it's pretty accurate on the 2-minute as well. See, the 5-minute doesn't have the gap fill call, but it's still pretty heavily on the bullish side, or on the bearish side, which means the way this indicator trades is it monitors how bullish or how bearish the candles have been, and it anticipates that we've been overly bearish. And if we're overly bearish, then it's going to say, hey, it's time for the bulls to step up, because they're not going to just let it go, right? That's why we oscillate. And so on the 2-minute, it's saying that we have been a little too bearish. So we have 62% of the candles are pushing bearish volume. Now we have news today. That's the only caveat I was going to jump on. And so we have the meeting minutes. I think it's like 2 or 2:30 for the FOMC. That's going to rock the markets. We had a little news, I think, at 8:30. We have crude oil inventories, I believe it is, at 10:30. So there's some news today, right? The news is the only thing that could really throw the TA, out the door. So we're just going to play the indicators. We're going to trust the range. The range I would play is, continue to take our scalps off the 442.30. If the market opens and we pull past it, look for some support. Once you see that support, or you see that maybe rounded bottom or some kind of bullishness, right? Then you can take that call scalp. I'd be really careful with the puts, but if you look at the white line, I mean, you can see actually the low that we can hit between the zone tracker and the white line that we have is 440. So I would say around 440 is our low of the day, and I would say I don't anticipate, unless we flip this 200 EMA, I don't anticipate us getting much higher than the 443 30 area. If we flip this 200 EMA, then we're definitely gonna test this 443.90. Now this is where, like I was saying earlier, the biggest decision is going to be, because if we flip that 443.90, it's running. Like, we may even go all the way to 446. It could just be nuts. But if we can't, because we also, remember, we have this teal trend line, right? So we would have reclaimed that, and it's going to be pretty bullish. So, but we got to get above that for that crazy volume to come in. So it's going to be a big market up, and we'll see how this plays out. But all right, let's see. I'm going to look briefly. I'm not going to touch much on Apple. Y'all know my thoughts here. It's simply, we had our fall and it hasn't broke the 177. Until it breaks 177 or breaks this, I would not take a call on Apple until we flip 182, and I wouldn't take a put on Apple with it consolidating this strong. I just wouldn't even take a put, honestly, right now. Unless we broke 176.44 and held as resistance, that would be the put area I would look for. Let me go expand it. So Google, this is the range we've been watching. It's holding it pretty well. So looks like yesterday we did get that rejection off of it. We're just in a squeeze. Again, we have a little bit of a bullish gap fill on the 1 hour. So Google actually could get a little bit of a potential pop north if it can hold this 129 area. If I would look for this 200 EMA on the 1 hour. If we do flip this one and we start acting bearish below it, then I would look for this to break down. Because keep in mind, we had a crazy run up like this, right? So this is the line that I would watch. If we flip this, I would say we'll get a pullback at least to 127. If we flip that, then it's just going to go bad from there. But I think it's going to be tough to flip it necessarily right away, because without some news, because you have some heavy resistance and heavy support areas here. So even if it breaks down like Apple did, it would just find support like that, I bet. I don't want to go too much into the other ones, guys. I'll do Tesla real quick just because I did this earlier. So what I had mentioned on Tesla, you guys know that follow this regularly, is I did not like Tesla for a call because quite yet, because we were very rounded on here. That's played out perfectly. I said we had a falling channel, but it all is going to be basically based on the fact that it can hold 238, which it did not. It collapsed. The only thing I will say about Tesla is we are in the oversold territory, so a small bounce at least is likely. The next support that I have, I marked it here, is if it breaks this 227 area, 217 is likely where it's going to fall. But if it can hold this area, for me to take a call, I'm telling you guys, do not take a call as long as you're below this 21 SMA. Just don't, because it's been bleeding below it like this. Let it flip it, let it reclaim this channel. I would say 235 and above, 235.20, I would be safe to take some calls. But other than that, just be really careful, because we could just have a little bit of a bounce and then right back down. So, but we do have bullish gap fill on the 1 hour, so it's definitely setting up for a potential pop. Let's look at the Dixie. not doing anything crazy. I'm not going to stick on it too long because remember we talked about this yellow line. It's just staying below it. We're just ranging. So we might have one more little push north with the Dixie, and then I think it'll be a hard rejection. Crypto. Let me delete this. We were testing something yesterday. All right, so crypto, we're just ranging. It's a great scalping, right? I mean, we have a pump, our drops, our pumps, our drops, our pump. I mean, if you took a long or short anywhere in here, you made money. I mean, you could just throw it at it from a scalping standpoint. I'm not trading cryptos as much as I used to because I'm not going to move my money to some of these crazy decentralized exchanges. I've used BitGet, I've used some other things, but when those all pulled back, I just kind of pulled back. So I trade mostly spot. I'm not in anything right now on Bitcoin because I still think we have one more little pullback to come down here. And then I'll probably look to enter some spot trades. So in the meantime, this is kind of the channel that I've been watching. Y'all know, I mean, this is kind of like a falling wedge. I think we have one more little push north, but if we can't break this half point of this falling wedge and we come up to 29.5 and we begin to squeeze like this, that's when it's getting ready to pop. And that pop I think is going to take us pretty high, probably 31.8, something like that over time. So that's my thoughts. All right, so this is going to look a little crazy. This is where I'm going to talk about our charting, right? So just because this is where we did this. So you can see this is where we teach in the room some of the patterns and just kind of how to play them. And this is what we were doing yesterday. So we didn't do the fall because I was doing the huddle a little late yesterday. Again, we were watching this inverse head and shoulder. I actually called it like literally right when this head formed right here. And so I put this little line here. Mostly what I was watching is you had kind of like a little shoulder, head, and shoulder within a big head and shoulder, right? And that's what caught my eye. So this is kind of a neckline, plus it's a retest of the second larger shoulder. And so that's what I was watching early. We did take the calls in here, closed it somewhere around there. But we did get that push north from the inverse head and shoulder. It played out perfectly. We did end up with higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. We did find resistance at the prior support area, and this, as you see, I drew this back, I think, with originally I think it was this point. It was this one, this one, this one, and this one. I said this is looking very bear flag, and then when I saw this drop, I adjusted the line because it looked a little cleaner. And that played out perfectly, right? We dropped, we didn't even make the area, and then that basically broke down from there. So that's kind of the lines we used. This was a line that I was using for the breakdown for the bear flag, and so we did break below that. We reclaimed it, broke below it, we reclaimed it, and then once I saw us kind of lose it, you can tell that it was coming down. So I'm gonna delete these, but that's a little bit of what we do when we trade in the few hours in the morning. We just talk about all these lines, so, and they help, right, for support, resistance, and all that. So I'm going to talk about the calls here first. You can see, again, we had a stop loss here. We did not take that stop loss. I did not let that trade actually happen. We took a call here. We did take a call here, a call here, and a call here. So we took 4 total trades. It ended up being a very, very good day. I can take a look at Amazon Omar here in just 1 second. And so we did have a great day on the ATA, so I made the decision to just pause it entirely. Whether it's automated trading or whether it's live trading, right? You always want to secure your profits. You don't want to get greedy. And so, I made that call to pause it. So now, our code-wise still would have ended up amazing if we ran both the way that I had them set, because we actually took all these trades. Yes, we would have took this stop loss, but we would have took one put, which we did not take this because I did pause the puts, and then look at this one, would have just been massive. This one right here would have actually, and looking at the candles, it would have actually not stopped us out anywhere except for maybe there on our touch, right, which would have been TP3 anyway. So this one would have negated that loss, so we would have just had one extra win. So we didn't really save anything from an extra loss. We didn't really win anything extra. It still would have ended up a really good day. So overall, now let's talk about where we go from here. Let's talk about the calls first. Um, you know, this is an interesting situation because, again, we have news today and we're in a potential call area. Um, you know, because we like I said on the other TA, we are in a very over sold situation. So I think we have some bounces going, but this is where, guys, I want to caution you guys when you get too aggressive when you're running these on your own. The trend finder or our aggressive style strategies, those ones are more when you're trading with a trend. Technically, we are what? We're in a downtrend. And so to be really aggressive without any confirmation yet of a flip, right, is just kind of, it's risky. And then to be aggressive on a put when we know where, when you go to the 1 hour, right, and this still, I called it up here, but this is still looking so head and shoulder to me. But to go for a put when we're sitting at about right here on our pre-market, this could get a pretty good bounce acting as support, right? If we can reclaim that. Now, if we can't reclaim that, then obviously we're going to have a pretty good fall, which is that fall that I've been talking about, for some time. I just don't know that it's going to come without some kind of support, right? And you can see throughout this whole thing, we've had a fall, support, fall, support, fall, support, fall, support, right? So fall, some support, create another higher low, right? And then have another fall. That's what I'm balanced on. So it's a tricky day today. So I'm not going to run very aggressive today. We've had a great week so far. We had a great Monday. We had a great Tuesday. Don't give it back. Don't. It's not smart. I know we always want to be aggressive. We want this thing trading like a crazy person, but it's not really always the best time, right? And so I am going to allow it to trade. We're going to set up calls. I am going to do SARs. We're only going to do those 2 days. So that way, if I do need to let it go one more day, I can. I'm not going to let this thing trade into the news. So we're going to stop this actually early today. I'm only going to allow it to go till probably maybe noon. After that, I just won't take trades because we have the meeting, FOMC meeting minutes at 2. So I don't want it to trade into that. So although it usually does really well, it's just not worth the risk for it. So let's do 0.4 since we're doing less on the days. Take profits are still the same. Stop loss is still the same. And we're going to do the closeout trade on chart today. And we're going to do 9:30. Now I am gonna allow it to take a trade at 9:45. That's fine. I don't need it to wait too long, especially because we're cutting it a little sooner. And so we'll see what it can take within that, right? And so now the puts, what I'm gonna do is similar. We're gonna do SPY parabolic SARs. We're gonna do 2-day also. And we'll also do that 9:45, and we'll also do that 12, like that. We'll do 0.4, and this may change depending how market opens, depending what I see, right? You can see we're just bleeding in the market open right now, or market open, pre-market. 9. I had a little brain freeze. 9:30. Okay. And that will be our puts. And so I need to move this off real fast. Give me a moment. I gotta change the webhook. All right. Created that. Good deal. Okay. So we got that one created. Let's create the next one. Should be good. I actually been leaving it copied because none of my alerts actually are that, so it puts it up top anyways. So we have our put, we have our call, all in the 1 minute. We check the settings, it all looks good. 2-day, no DCA, 2-day, no DCA. Okay. So we're good. I'm gonna take the last 5 minutes here. Let's look at I don't know if you're still on Omar, but I can take a quick look at Amazon. I think I have it on this one. Yep. Yeah. So Amazon, I tend to agree with you because yesterday, if y'all remember, right here, right? So we have Monday, we had the breakout. I had said, be careful of the initial push. We did get our retest push here, but we did collapse it Tuesday. It's retesting not only this support area here, but we have this kind of bullish pattern with our trend line there. So if it can continue to hold above this 200 EMA around 137, and it can hold that and flip back over this 21 SMA, I would definitely ride that pop back up to like 142. So I would not take a call though until it flips 138.30 or so, like that, somewhere on there. And then if we break below this 200 though, look out below. But I don't know, because you got in here heavy resistance, right, which is going to flip as possible support. So you may have a fake candle down here, like a wick, and then a reclaim. Could be interesting with Amazon, actually. Could be interesting. So for the last few minutes here, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not going to go in depth because we will talk more about it when we get into the trading room. But we did finally test successfully all of our tests that we wanted to do for Live Trader. And so we do have that available now. So you can load your Live Trader. It's on our website. You just go in there. Now, keep in mind, Live Trader, it can be used with your Tasty Trade account, but it cannot be linked to a same account that the ATA is linked to, if that makes sense, because our just overall core code won't allow it, because you have to have different API or different logins, and obviously with Tasty Trade you don't have a different API or a different login. It's the same thing. So you'd have to choose one account that you don't want to run the ATA on, that you want to use the Live Trader on. But as long as you have one account linked to it, you can do that. So why would you use the Live Trader instead of the ATA? This is how we're going to begin to teach everybody to trade, and I'm going to use this to trade pretty much throughout the day. This is where I'm going to set my range. I'm not going to just jump in when I see things or calls. I'm going to play that range, and I'm going to play the technology, and I'm going to let the technology work, right? And it's amazing because you can actually set your own contract volume. You can set your own contract days. You can follow along. We don't have a copy trade available for this, but you can follow along with it. And then basically, like here, you set up your time that you want to start trading. You set up when do you want it to look to open a price. So right here I have 444. I'm only allowing to trade one time, and I have a call. And so you can see, here's where I started trading. It came down past my line. Let me zoom in to make that easier to see. Yeah, here's my line. So it came down past my line, didn't open the trade until it came back above the line. It came up, and this is where it closed, right before the collapse. Now the advantage of the Live Trader is, and I'll go more in depth on this in the rooms, is you can add as many of these indicators as you want. And so let's say I were to tell my code, I will start my trading for here, but I want to take a let's say a put if we reject off of this level, and I want to take a call if we find support off this level, right? So I already have the call in there. So now let's take a look at the put. And so if I were to enter that put, I would just do the same thing, 2023, 8, I think it's, what did I do? 15 at 13.58. So 15, 13. So this is basically what you would start your trading day as, right? Because obviously it's not the ATA. So when we do this in the trading floor, we'll just start it at 9:30, right? And then I'm going to set my window I want it to look to open a price. Well, I'm doing my TA, and I'm going to say, okay, somewhere around 444.40, we'll say 444.40. 440, I want it to take a put. Now, when you look at this, that's how it played the range, right? I can set this right here and I can leave, go to work, go do something else, right? And it's not going to take that or it's going to take the call. It's going to take your put. I have it set to only do one trade only, so you're not getting like really stuck in anything. And so it's going to initiate all that. You can set stop losses, DCAs, any of that stuff, right? Now, in addition, let's say I decided to, this will be the last example I'll show here, and then I got to move on, but let's say I decided to do another one, and I said, okay, I also want to take a call if we retest this lower level here, 443.34. This is where the ATA is amazing. So if I say 443.34, same, let's say I do, because I did my TA, so we all did it at the same exact time. I think it was 15 at, what did I say, 13:58? Let's put that. All right. So what I want you to notice is I set it to take a call, and I told it, go ahead and take a call at that 43, what did I say, 43.40, I think. 443.34. So you can't see it because this white line's there, so I'm just going to delete that. But see this line? This is the mark. But the beauty of the ATA is if you set up aggressive call like that, it protects you from a crash. Notice it never took this trade. It will not take this trade until the trade actually comes back in your favor, right? It won't take it. And so I guess let's use another example, like how you would have caught here, right? So let's say if you wanted to, catch some, let's say you wanted to catch something here, right? And so let's say you took, let's put 444. I want to do something like just above this, right? 444.58. And then let's pull the candle back here at 9, we'll say 9:30. So 444.58. And then let's say you started this at your 9:30, right? And this was based on your TA that you wanted it to take a call. So I'm going to mute these just so we don't get them confused. All right. Let me mute this one too. Okay, so we don't confuse this. All right, notice how, although we started our trading day up here, we said to take a call right here. It didn't take the call here because it was going against you, so it won't allow it. Right? Didn't take it. It was super patient. It waited. It didn't take it until it actually came back in your favor. Took the call, came up, and it closed it in profit. And so if you think about it, that's from 9:30 in the morning to 11:30. That's 2 hours that you didn't have to just sit there and waste your day watching the screen. You can just come back and say, oh, sweet, I got that profit. Now, we have an option. If you're good at identifying the range, you can uncheck one trade only, and it will continue to take those trades. Now, I caution you, that's why I did it here, because if you're wrong, you may have turned a great day, right, and then it hit your range again, which is great TA, but look, it never hit your profit again, and now you're stuck, right? Now, if you use DCA protocol, see, it would have did a good DCA on the default, and it would be almost out, at the end of the market, but it didn't quite make it. And that's the risk of running the multiples, is if we held that range, it could be amazing, right? If your TA is spot on. I'm not a big fan of letting it run all day. I just want to let it take one solid trade. You can increase the take profits if you want to. You can decrease the take profit if you want to. You have full control over that. I will be doing in my TikTok lives and in the are you using a stop loss? Yeah, I will be using a stop loss on the live trader too. That's the objective, is I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to know that I have a big hit on the contract. I just want to set my range, play my TA, and either I'm right or I'm wrong, right? And that's where the discipline comes in, John, because not only on the take profit, people lack discipline, but you lack discipline on the stop loss because even myself, I've had times where I'm like, man, I know this is going to go up. I know it's going to go up. I know it's going to go up. And I'll just keep moving my stop loss and moving my stop loss. And I just, and the next thing you know, you're so deep in it. You're like, dang, I should just let the stop loss take $300 hit because now I'm down $3,000, right? And that's patience and discipline, right? Which is the two hardest things for anybody to grasp as a trader. It just is. And that's where you just get to where you trust your TA, you trust what you see, you put it in there, and then you trust the technology to work for you. So it's gonna be sick. We're gonna do a whole. This is what we've been waiting for to finalize our options portion of the academy. So in the coming weeks, we're gonna start tying this to that. And when we trade in the mornings, from our 9:30 to 11 or 11:30. It's going to be 100% based on doing our TA and setting up our parameters for the day, and then making some mild adjustments, between that 9:30 and 11, and then by 11 o'clock we'll have our final trade for the day, our parameters set on when we want to take the trade, and we'll walk away, right? And we'll see how it happens. So it's going to be amazing. I'm excited. This is huge because there's really not a lot of people doing this for options. On there because it's gonna be great, and like I said, I think it's gonna be amazing for people who know how to trade, and it's gonna be very, very helpful for people that don't really know how to trade. So, but that's all I got. We're about 7 minutes over. I don't want to keep going for the stream. Hope that helps y'all out. TikTok, I can kind of hang around another 10 minutes. So if you guys have some questions or you want me to look at something, but